I work the front desk at a London hotel. An American checked in and asked which part of England Big Ben was in. I said it was here in London. He nodded. Then he pulled out his phone and asked which tube line goes to England. I explained that London is in England. He stared at me. I know that, but we want to see the England part, the countryside, the Real England. I showed him a map. He insisted London couldn't be the capital. I thought the capital was the place where the king lives. Doesn't he live in a castle somewhere? I pointed to Buckingham Palace on the map. He said that was just for tourists. The real palace must be in the countryside. He left a review saying our staff lacked basic geography knowledge. In Edinburgh, a tourist asked our museum guide why Scots spoke such good English. The guide said English and Scots both came from Britain. The American said, "Right, but like, you learned English from us, right? After we won the war." The entire tour group went silent. I manage a bookshop in Oxford. An American customer asked where our English section was. I gestured around the store. "Everything here is in English." He shook his head impatiently. "No, I mean English authors. British English." I showed him the British fiction section. He picked up a book and frowned. "Why is it spelled color?" "That's a typo." I explained that's how it's spelled in Britain. He insisted we'd misspelled it throughout the entire book. "Who's your editor? This is embarrassing." He wanted to speak to the manager about our quality control problem. I told him I was the manager. He said, "Then you should know better. This makes British books look unprofessional." He left to find a store that sold properly edited books. At Heathrow, I work customs. An American argued he shouldn't need his passport because we speak the same language. I explained that's not how international travel works. He said he'd been to Texas and didn't need a passport there. I pointed out Texas is in America. He said Britain used to be America's colony, so it should work both ways. If you can come to America without a visa, I should be able to come here without a passport. I asked where he got that idea. He said it was common sense and fair. When I insisted he present his passport, he asked if I knew who America's president was. I said yes. He said, "Then you know we're allies." This is discrimination. I'm a server at a Brighton restaurant. An American couple asked for the check. When I brought it, the man inspected it and called me back. "There's no tip included." I said that's correct. Tipping isn't mandatory here. He said, "But the service was good. You forgot to add the tip." I explained we don't automatically add gratuity. His wife whispered something to him. He turned back to me. "In America, we invented restaurants. I think I know how tipping works." I assured him it works differently in Britain. He calculated 20% himself, wrote it on the receipt, and told me I should remind my boss to update the system. His wife stopped me as I walked away. "He's being generous. You really should have mentioned the tip thing in the menu." I run a clothing shop in Cardiff. An American woman asked where our pants section was. I showed her our trousers. She said no, she needed pants. I explained that's what we call trousers here. She looked confused. "But what do you call pants?" I said we call them trousers. She repeated, "No, like underwear." "What do you call underwear?" I said pants. She stared at me. "So pants are underwear here?" I confirmed. She laughed nervously. "That's so weird. So when I told that guy on the street I liked his pants." I nodded. She went pale. "Oh my God." I complimented a stranger's underwear. Her friend tried to comfort her. "At least you didn't tell him you wished you'd worn pants today because it was cold." The woman gasped. "I did say that. To 3 different people." She left without buying anything. At a hotel in Bath, I work the desk. An American couple arrived for a wedding. The invitation said, "Fancy dress." They asked where the nearest formalwear shop was. I asked why they needed one. The husband said, "The wedding invitation says fancy dress. We only packed casual clothes." I explained fancy dress means costumes here. His wife pulled out the invitation and read it again. Costumes? Like Halloween. I said exactly like Halloween. They looked horrified. The husband said, "We thought it was black tie. We were going to rent tuxedos." His wife started laughing. Remember Sarah's party in New York? The one where we showed up in suits and everyone else was dressed as cats. I said that must have been awkward. She said, "Now it's happening in reverse. We're going to be the only ones not dressed as pirates." They spent the afternoon scrambling to find costume shop. At a London train station, I sell tickets. An American asked for a ticket to Scotland. I asked which city. He said just Scotland. I explained Scotland is a country. Did he mean Edinburgh, Glasgow? He said, "Whichever one is Scotland." I said they're both in Scotland. He grew frustrated. "Look, I just want to see Scotland. The place with the Loch Ness monster. How hard is this?" I suggested Inverness. He asked how far that was. I said about 500 miles. He laughed. "That can't be right. Britain is tiny. I thought the whole country was like the size of Texas." I confirmed it was a 5-hour train ride. He said American trains would do it faster. "Why don't you have bullet trains?" I explained we do have fast trains. He asked why it still took 5 hours then. "In America, we'd have helicopters for this." I'm a tour guide in Bath. An American asked when we'd visit the Roman ruins. I explained we were standing in them, the Roman bath. He looked disappointed. These are it." I said yes, they're nearly 2,000 years old. He said the Roman stuff in Vegas looked more authentic. "These just look like old pools." I explained these were actual Roman constructions. He took photos but seemed unimpressed. His wife asked if the Romans built anything bigger. I mentioned Hadrian's Wall. She perked up. "Like the wall in Game of Thrones?" I said Game of Thrones actually based their wall on Hadrian's. She looked skeptical. "But that's fictional. Hadrian's Wall is real." I confirmed it was very real and very old. Her husband said, "If it's so important, why haven't I heard of it?" I said perhaps because he wasn't from Britain. He replied, "I watch the History Channel. They would have mentioned it." I work at Wimbledon during the tennis tournament. An American complained that the strawberries and cream cost £12. That's like $17. 4 strawberries. I said that's the standard price here. He wanted to know why it was so expensive. I explained it's Wimbledon, everything costs more. He said that was exploitation and un-American. I mentioned he wasn't in America. He said that wasn't the point. Basic capitalism means competition drives prices down. You clearly don't have enough vendors. I said Wimbledon controls all the vendors. He called it a monopoly. This would be illegal in America. I suggested he could eat before coming. He said he shouldn't have to plan around price gouging. He bought them anyway but told everyone in line they were being ripped off. I bartended in a Notting Hill pub. An American ordered a beer and asked why it wasn't cold. I said it's served at cellar temperature. He said it was warm. I explained that's traditional for British ale. He insisted beer had to be cold. That's the whole point of beer. It's a cold drink. I offered him a lager instead, those are chilled. He said he wanted ale, just cold. I explained ale isn't meant to be ice cold. He said that was objectively wrong. I asked if he'd ever had traditional British ale before. He said no, but cold is cold. Physics doesn't change just because you're British. I served him the ale. He took one sip and pushed it back. This tastes like it's been sitting out. Can you remake it? I said that's how it tastes. He asked for my manager. My manager told him the same thing. He paid and left, muttering about warm beer being proof Britain lost the empire. I work at a petrol station in Somerset. An American pulled up and asked me to pump his gas. I said we're self-service. He looked at the pump, then at me. You don't pump gas for customers? I said no, you do it yourself. He seemed offended. In America, there are places where they pump it for you. I said those exist here too, but this isn't one of them. He asked how to use the pump. I walked him through it. He studied the prices. Why is gas so expensive here? This says £1.50 per litre. I explained that's just how much petrol costs in Britain. He did some mental math. That's like $7 a gallon, that's insane. I said yes, fuel is expensive here. He asked why we didn't complain to the government. In America, if gas hit $7 there'd be riots. I said we're used to it. He filled his tank and looked at the total. £60? To fill a mid-size car. I confirmed. He said, no wonder everyone here drives tiny cars. As he left, he muttered, highway robbery. I work at a Glasgow pub doing trivia night. An American team insisted Scotland wasn't part of Britain. I explained the United Kingdom includes Scotland, England, Wales, and Northern Ireland. The team captain said, but you have your own flag. That means you're independent. I said lots of UK regions have flags. He argued Scotland had voted for independence. I clarified the referendum failed. Scotland is still in the UK. His teammates said they'd watched Braveheart. You fought England for freedom. I explained that was the 1300. She said, but you still hate England, right? So you're basically independent. I said that's not how country borders work. They got the question wrong and blamed my biased answer key. At Edinburgh Castle, I guide tours. An American asked if this was where Braveheart took place. I said Braveheart was filmed in Ireland, not Scotland. She looked confused. But it's about Scotland. I explained they filmed it elsewhere for practical reasons. She asked why they didn't just film it at Edinburgh Castle. I said the castle didn't exist in its current form during William Wallace's time. She said the movie showed castles. Were those fake? I said mostly yes. She seemed betrayed. So this castle wasn't even in Scottish history? I assured her the castle was very much part of Scottish history, just not that specific story. Her husband asked if Mel Gibson ever visited. I said probably, but not in character. He looked disappointed. I work at a London tourist information center. An American asked for walking directions to Paris. I said Paris is in France. He knew that. But how far is the walk? I explained you can't walk to France, there's an ocean. He said he'd heard about the channel. I clarified that's a train tunnel for vehicles, not a pedestrian walkway. He asked why Britain didn't build a bridge. America would have built a bridge by now. I said the English Channel is too wide and deep for a bridge. He insisted that was defeatist thinking. I offered him Eurostar train information. He said trains were boring. I wanted to say I walked from England to France. I suggested he take the train and walk around Paris instead. He said that defeated the purpose. He left to research better options. I work at a pub in Newcastle. An American ordered fish and chip. When it arrived, he called me over. This is fried fish. I ordered fish and chips. I said that's what fish and chips is. He pointed at the chips. These are fries. I explained we call them chips here. He said, then what do you call chips? I said crisp. He looked at his plate, then at me. So chips are fries and chips are crisps? I nodded. He asked what we call fries then. I repeated chips. His friend tried to help. So British chips are American fries, and British crisps are American chips? I confirmed. The first man rubbed his temples. This is purposely confusing. I assured him it wasn't. He said, no wonder you lost the colonies. He ate his meal in silence. occasionally glaring at his chips. At a bed and breakfast in Yorkshire, I'm the owner. An American guest asked what time breakfast was. I said 8 to 10. He asked if there was coffee. I said yes, and tea. He wanted to know if the coffee was real coffee. I asked what he meant. He said, like American coffee, not instant. I assured him it was proper coffee. The next morning, he came down and tried the coffee. He made a face. This is espresso. I said it's just coffee. He insisted it was too strong. This is like European coffee. Don't you have normal coffee? I offered to water it down. He said that wasn't the point. In America, coffee is supposed to be like a big mug you can drink while you work. I explained British coffee is meant to be savored. He said that was inefficient. He asked if we had a Starbucks nearby. I directed him to one 3 miles away. He looked defeated. Never mind. I'll just drink tea like a tourist. I run a newsagent in Bristol. An American came in looking for chips. I showed him the crisps aisle. He said, "No, I mean like Doritos. Chips." I explained Doritos are crisps here. He picked up a bag of Walkers. These say crisps on them. I confirmed that's because they're crisp. He said, but in America, these would be chips. I agreed. He seemed irritated. Why do you have to change the name? They're chips everywhere else. I said actually, Britain named them first. He didn't accept that. America invented snack food. We would have named them correctly. I suggested he just buy what he wanted regardless of the name. He grabbed a bag. I'm buying these under protest. At the counter, he asked if we took real money. I asked what he meant. He held up dollars. I said we only take pounds. He acted shocked. I thought England used euros now. I said no, we never adopted the euro. He said, Brexit happened. I saw it on the news. I explained Brexit meant leaving the EU, not joining the euro. He looked confused. What's the difference? I gave him directions to a currency exchange. I work at a Birmingham shopping center. An American woman approached me in distress. She'd been invited to a British colleague's party. The invitation said to bring pudding. She'd bought chocolate pudding cups from Tesco. I asked if the party was a dinner party. She said yes. I gently explained that pudding means dessert in Britain. She looked at her shopping bag. So they don't want pudding? I said they want any dessert, cake, pie, anything. She seemed embarrassed. I bought 12 cups of pudding. I thought they really liked pudding. I suggested she could still bring them. She said, "No, that's humiliating. I'll look like I don't understand basic English." She bought a cake instead. As she left, she turned back. Do British people even eat pudding? I said yes, but we call it something else. She looked exhausted. Of course you do. At a Manchester gym, I'm a receptionist. An American asked where he could fill his water bottle. I pointed to the fountain. He said, "Is the water okay to drink?" I confirmed it was tap water. He looked concerned. But is it filtered? I said it's just regular tap water. He insisted that couldn't be safe. You have to filter water. Everyone knows that. I explained British tap water is perfectly safe. He didn't believe me. I've seen your old buildings. Those pipes are ancient. I assured him the water quality was tested regularly. He pulled out a bottle of Evian from his bag. I'll stick with this. I mentioned Evian comes from Europe. He said that was different. That's spring water. Natural. I pointed out that tap water also comes from natural sources. He said, yeah, but it goes through pipes. I gave up. He paid for his day pass and asked if we had ice for his safe water. I manage a theater in London's West End. An American couple bought tickets to a show. During the interval, they approached me confused. The man said, "When does the show start?" I said it already had, this was the interval. His wife said, "Interval? You mean intermission? I confirmed. She looked at her watch. So we missed the first half? I said no, they'd watched it. They seemed bewildered. The husband said, but the lights came on and everyone left. I explained that's what happens during the interval. People get drinks or use the toilet. He said, in America, they announce intermission. You just turned on the lights. I apologized if it was confusing. His wife said, we thought something was wrong. We went outside and everyone was just standing around. I assured them this was normal. The husband asked how long the interval was. I said 15 minutes. He checked his watch. We've been gone 12 minutes. Is the show still happening? I promised they hadn't missed anything. They rushed back inside. After the show, they told me British theater was stressful. I work at a hotel in Kent. An American asked if we had biscuits and gravy for breakfast. I said we had biscuits, meaning cookies. He said, no, like breakfast biscuit, with sausage gravy. I explained we don't have that dish here. He seemed surprised. But you're the ones who invented biscuits. I clarified that British biscuits are sweet. He pulled out his phone and showed me a picture. These. Do you have these? I said those look like scones. He insisted they were biscuit. I brought him a scone. He tried it. This is dry. Where's the gravy? I said we don't put gravy on scones. He looked disappointed. Then what do you put on them? I suggested jam and cream. He said that was dessert, not breakfast. I offered him a full English breakfast instead. When it arrived, he asked why there were beans. Are these like a side dish? I said they're part of the meal. He tried them. These are baked beans. Like from a can. I confirmed. He said, we eat these at barbecues. Not breakfast. His wife tried the black pudding. She asked what it was. I explained. She put down her fork. That's blood. I nodded. She pushed her plate away. I think we'll just have toast. I manage a tea shop in the Cotswolds. An American couple came in and asked for normal tea. I showed them our selections, English breakfast, Earl Grey, Darjeeling. The woman shook her head. No, just normal tea. Like Lipton. I explained we don't carry Lipton. She said every tea shop in America has Lipton. It's the most popular tea in the world. I offered English breakfast as the closest equivalent. Her husband interrupted. Why is it called English breakfast? Do you only drink it at breakfast? I said no, it's just a name. He found that confusing. That's false advertising. They settled on English breakfast. When I brought it, the wife asked where the tea bag was. I explained we use loose leaf tea in a pot. She looked alarmed. How are we supposed to drink it? I said you pour it through the strainer. She asked why we made tea so complicated. In America, you just dunk a bag in hot water. I said this is traditional British tea service. Her husband said it seemed wasteful. All these dishes for one drink. I assured them it was worth it. They took one sip and said it was too strong. Can you water it down? I brought hot water. They diluted it themselves, added 5 sugars each, and said it was drinkable now. As they left, I overheard the wife say, I don't know why British people are so snobby about tea. Lipton tastes the same and it's way easier. Working in British hospitality has taught me that confidence and knowledge are not the same thing. Some visitors arrive certain that their way is the universal way, that their understanding of the world is complete. They're not trying to be difficult, they genuinely believe Britain is just America with accent. When reality contradicts their expectations, they don't question their assumptions. They question reality. And somehow we're always the ones left explaining that yes, Britain is a real place with its own ways of doing things. Not better, not worse. Just different. Next time, I'll share stories from European visitors who can't believe how similar Americans and Brits actually are.